I'm Jada Franton and this is my weekly roundup. I cannot stress this enough. Please keep an eye on what your children are watching. Children are extremely impressionable. They're like little sponges ready to soak up information. This is being taken advantage of. Earlier this week was Transgender Day of Visibility. As if the incessant parades through our streets aren't visible enough, there is now an actual day dedicated to people seeing trannies. The colours of the flag for transgenders, known as Transgender Pride Flag, are baby pink and baby blue. The first thought that came into my head when I saw the flag was, those are the colours we attribute to baby girls and baby boys. This is Monica Helms, a transgender activist who designed the flag, claiming the design came to her from divine intervention. The stripes at the top and bottom are light blue, the traditional colour for baby boys. The stripes next to them are pink, the traditional colour for baby girls. The stripe in the middle is white for those who are transitioning or consider themselves having a neutral or undefined gender. I am not sure there is anything divine about that flag. The use of those colours would instinctively make it appeal to little children who are quite often surrounded by them as they go through their early years. I came across both the flag and the fact that there is a Transgender Day of Visibility on Twitter when I saw a tweet from none other than Nickelodeon, a channel whose target audience are children, our children. Then I saw a tweet from Cartoon Network, the channel specifically created to show cartoons to kids. Are you happy for your child's favourite cartoon channel to promote this agenda? Should children not just be left to enjoy their childhood without having these new trends thrust upon them? So I thought I would take a look at some of the posts using the same hashtag, Transgender Day of Visibility, and honestly, it was disturbing. At first glance, it all looks very child-friendly, with lots of baby pink and baby blue flags and hearts that would visually appeal to our kiddies. Then I looked at some of the people posting under the hashtag and thought, would I really want any child of mine looking at this? Do kids really need to see some fella in a frock trying to spin around? Is it really appropriate for this hashtag to be used by Cartoon Network? If these posts aren't largely designed to target kids, why show Thomas the Tank Engine surrounded by transgender pride flags? Why are grown men posting creepy pictures of themselves using this hashtag, which is being promoted by Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network and DreamWorks? The same hashtag used to have a dig at so-called TERFs, or trans exclusionary radical feminists. Does any of this seem a bit perverted to you?
Why is transgender visibility important? I can be myself, out in public.
There are even videos that are promoting transgenderism like it's the greatest adventure someone could ever embark on.
Being trans is tough and you should celebrate every little step. Choosing a name.
When you start testosterone.
My mum bought me like a keyring that said like daughter.
Getting my ears pierced.
Top surgery.
The day you get your new birth certificate.
Just exist in a body that I never thought I would get to exist in.
Now I'm grateful that I have a beard and a deep voice.
The day you get your new passport is very cool and exciting. Everything is a little celebration.
What do I wish I was told? Oh my god.
I wish I'd been told that transition is so much more than just the physical. I think so often as trans people, our identities and our experiences of life just become centered around the physical, like passing, for example, and looking the best you can as a trans woman, or like being the buffest trans guy.
The number one thing I think stands out to me is like, you don't have to be the toxic masculinity of manhood in order to be valid as a man. As I got older and I got more comfortable with my identity and I started to look and sound the way that I wanted to, I started to be a lot more playful with my identity as a man. And now, you know, I've kind of dismissed everything that's toxic about masculinity and I'm very much more vulnerable.
For all the young boys who might have seen that video, the message is masculinity is toxic and real men should play with dolls' houses. Are you okay with all this? Because I'm not. I find it utterly repugnant that TV channels whom we are placing our trust in to safely entertain our children are using their influence to push an ideology that has resulted in 12-year-old children having their body parts cut off. It is time these depraved institutions were told in no uncertain terms, leave our children alone. An inquest has been opened into the tragic murder of 7-year-old Emily Jones. There has been almost an entire media blackout of this brutal killing of an innocent little British girl. Emily was with her father when she was playing on her scooter in Queen's Park in Bolton on Mother's Day. As Emily rode past a wooden bench in the park, a 30-year-old Somali immigrant, not known to Emily or her family, jumped up and stabbed her in the throat. Despite the woman being arrested and detained, Greater Manchester Police say they are appealing for more information. Quite how they think they are going to get it, I do not know, since there has been a media blackout on this hugely significant and devastating case. Have you seen an appeal for information on any of the mainstream news channels? No name or picture has been released of the Somalian woman that killed little Emily so viciously on the afternoon of Sunday the 22nd of March. Police have not revealed any motive, only stated that the murder suspect is being detained in a secure mental health unit. Emily deserves to be remembered just as much as the 13-year-old and 5-year-old boys who have died of the coronavirus, or Stephen Lawrence, who has a permanent memorial dedicated to his memory. As we await further details of this heinous and unimaginable crime carried out by a guest in our country and blacked out by the mainstream media, we remember Emily and her family and keep them in our prayers. Jeremy Corbyn is out. After 5 years of causing irreversible damage to the Labour Party, the hardline Marxist is no longer their leader. There are so many moments to look back on over the course of Jeremy Corbyn's train-wreck leadership and ask, what the f*** is wrong with this man? Like when he said the US military should not have taken out Jihadi John, the ISIS terrorist who used to have his jihadist pals film him while he cut people's heads off. Or when he repeatedly refused to say he would authorise British troops to kill ISIS terror chiefs.
The gentlemen in suits walk in, they say, Prime Minister Corbyn, we've got good news for you. Al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, we know where he is, we can take him out with a drone strike. Can we have your permission? What do you tell them?
What I would tell them is, give me the information you've got, tell me how accurate that is, and tell me what you think can be achieved by this. But the point has...
If they do know where he is, because I'm asking you about decisions you would have to take as Prime Minister.
Can I take you back to the whole point?
Yeah.
What is the objective here? Is the objective to start more strikes that may kill many innocent people, as has happened, or is the objective to get a political solution in Syria? My whole point would
be to kill the leader of ISIS.
My whole point would be, does this help to get a political solution in Syria? Approach it from that position.
All right. Do you think killing the leader of ISIS would be helpful for a political solution?
I think the leader of ISIS not being around would be helpful. I'm no supporter or defender in any way whatsoever of ISIS.
In fairness, that wasn't a huge surprise, given that we know Jeremy Corbyn is friends with terrorists because he has told us.
And say that tomorrow evening it will be my pleasure and my honour to host an event in Parliament where our friends from Hezbollah will be speaking. I'd also invited friends from Hamas to come and speak as well.
Or maybe when he promised to completely decriminalise killing babies and allow full-term abortion for any reason. Or even just the fact that he thought this would have been the best person for the role of Home Secretary.
We've said is we would find the money to recruit the 10,000 police people by we would find the money because we'd look at capital gains tax. The Tories have cut capital gains tax and we want to restore it. And that would give us, I think, 170... We would find the money by restoring levels of capital gains tax.
Or the fact that his parting gift was a smug and frankly insane interview in which he gloats that the coronavirus has proven communism is the best thing for Britain.
I was denounced as somebody that wanted to spend more money than we could possibly afford in order to right the social wrongs of this country. I didn't think that it would take only 3 months for me to be proved absolutely right by the amount of money the government is now prepared to put in, and Parliament has just voted through to deal with the coronavirus crisis.
But to be totally honest, I have mixed feelings about his departure. I can't say I'm not glad to see the back of a man that, through his hardline Marxist agenda, managed to indoctrinate countless millennials who now think socialism is a good thing, climate change is going to cause the end of the world imminently, and anything remotely patriotic is racist. Kids love the sound of socialism. Everything's free, everyone gets the same, we are all equal and no one is really in charge and it's all lovely. The reality is it doesn't work, and it never has, and I'm certain that whilst these kids have all been learning about Black History Month, gender studies and a degenerate curriculum of sex education, no one has bothered to teach them about how many lives Corbyn's ideology has already taken. On the other hand, I'll miss him. In the same way I miss Anjem Choudhury. Not because I agree with either of them, but because I would rather they were spouting their genuine hardline beliefs than watering them down to seem reasonable. I like to know my enemy, and Jeremy Corbyn certainly wasn't shy about expressing his love for communism. His hard left beliefs helped to polarise the country, which would have played a significant role in people voting for Brexit and a Tory landslide victory in the 2019 election. So, thank you, Jeremy, for helping the still sane people of Britain realise what we will definitely never want for our country. The UK are heading into the 3rd week on lockdown, and some definitely seem to be enjoying it more than others. The introduction of the new Coronavirus Act 2020 and Health Protection Regulations 2020 seems to have spawned a new breed of overzealous, power-hungry COVID cops.
Then you'll get a fine. And if you can't prove who you are, you get arrested.
Write the fine, we're going to drive.
Alright? So the simple fact is, you can drive this car home because you're the driver. The rest of the passengers have to walk to wherever they want to go to. That's a dispersal. And where your final destination is down to you.
Right.
But you are not allowed to be on the street together.
But we're in the car now together.
It doesn't matter.
So you're going to separate more people into the streets?
Separately, away from each other.
Why? We're in the car together now. It don't make a difference. You're all rounders. You've surrounded us with how many police are here? 5?
Clearly, the police are doing important work, surrounding a carload of people and giving them disbursement orders so that they all have to then make their way home separately at night. But don't worry, if you thought this meant they don't have the resources to send no less than 5 police officers to the house of a man who filmed a traffic warden ticketing people's cars, despite everyone being ordered to park up their vehicles and stay in their houses.
Then, right, what do you want to say to it?
So, as my colleague said, it's a public order complaint. Somebody's made a complaint that you've acted in a manner causing them harm, alarm and distress.
Alarm and distress in what way?
So, that would be part of the allegation that you get to hear.
Yeah.
As my colleague's asked, I'm inviting you to attend an interview at Winton Police Station on Friday so we can investigate.
I'm happy to give you a statement. I'm not going to go for an interview.
Okay, well, it would be an interview. It would be a recorded interview under the Police and Criminal Evidence Act.
I'm not really happy to come to the station for that. It's ridiculous because all I haven't actually done. If they've got some proof against me and they can show you any evidence I've done anything wrong, then yeah, I'll come to the station. Otherwise, I'm not going to bother.
We have got evidence from them. We've got statements and videos.
Videos. What am I doing in them videos?
Because that's something that you'll have the opportunity to see. I've got the videos too, haven't I? Of them putting tickets on all innocent people's cars when everyone's in quarantine with their kids and you can't leave your houses. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so there's the opportunity for you to see that evidence when you come for your interview. So the only other option, as my colleague was surely about to explain, is that if you don't come for an interview, we need to conduct the investigation. We can arrest you on suspicion of a public order offence and then take you to be interviewed.
Cool.
We don't
when are you going to do that?
Sorry?
When are you going to do that?
Well, I'm going to tell you when I'm going to come and arrest you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't intend to arrest you at the moment. No one here does. We want you to give you the opportunity.
I'm just a bit worried why there's 5 police officers at my door when everyone's in quarantine for me recording a traffic warden. Have you not got more stuff you need to prioritise over this?
Got important
Is this it? Because about 3 weeks ago, someone took my van and stole £8,000 worth of things. I didn't even get a phone call back off one of you guys when I called 9 hours before. They haven't recovered any of the stuff. Still got £8 grand worth of stuff stolen out of my van. No one come then. I rang you 3 or 4 times and no one even came.
Okay.
So why are you responding to this so much?
Because it's public order complaint.
It's not. I haven't done anything. You can ask any of the neighbours. They were all watching out their windows at the traffic wardens.
Okay, Jordan, you're taking us round in circles. So, are you going to come in for an interview on Friday?
Possibly, possibly not.
All right. Okay.
Have you got like an appointment card you can leave me? Or...
Yeah, my colleague can write you an appointment card.
Yeah, if you leave me an appointment card, that'd be lovely. Okay, cheers.
Not only did it require 5 officers without a warrant to simply invite this guy for a voluntary interview, but the chief Stasi at the scene felt it necessary to have his hand firmly gripping his taser gun at all times. You know, just in case the alleged suspect pulls out a phone and starts recording him like he did the traffic warden. For anyone wondering whether this guy's van was ever investigated, I'm afraid the British police are currently too busy dancing in the street to deal with something as petty as vehicle theft. Warrington police have been hard at it, boasting their overnight success in this tweet. Overnight, 6 people have been summoned for offences related to the new coronavirus legislation to protect the public. These included out for a drive due to boredom, returning from parties, multiple people from the same household going to the shops for non-essential items. The police in Peckham Rye Park are also having none of it. They have their vans driving across the nicely cut grass, shouting at people that they better not be sunbathing. Also in Peckham, officers are being subjected to abuse and intimidation by low-life trash because their backup are looking out for anyone carrying Factor 30 sunscreen.
Look at these jokes, look at these jokes, look. They're hyped, they're excited, look at them. Look at them, they're excited, look at them. Look at them. Congo shit. DRC. Congo shit. You understand? Make me go, man. Make me go off your face. Make me go off your face. Make me go off your face. What is your problem? Make me go off your face. Make me go off your face. You make me go away, officer. Make me go away. You're in Peckham. 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 Yeah, so mind yourself. Yeah, so mind yourself. Mind yourself. You're in Peckham. You're in Peckham. Mind yourself. Yeah. Hey, brother, don't let them search you. Say no more, guys. Say no more. Say no more. Say no more. Gang shit. DRC. Gang member. Gang member. Forget these people racist, guy. They're racist. Forget them. They're racist. Can't stand them. They're racist. Show them your ass. Show them your ass. Show them your ass. Show them your ass. Peckham. Come on. Yeah, yeah. You think you're bad, innit? You think you're bad, innit? You're not bad, officer. You're not bad. None of you's not bad. None of you's not bad. You're cowards. Why are they not picking on black people? This is what they do to black people. They do this to black people. Are you mad? Come on, your taser can't think you're bad. You're mad. My whole Glock 4 is big things. Are you mad? Come on, man. Glock 4 your ass. Do you know who I am? Run my name. Run my name. Run my name. Chanel Riscosa. Run my name right now, officer. Officer, run my name right now. I've done 12 years in jail. Yeah? 12. Of course you don't. I don't care about you either. I don't care about you either. How about that? How about that? How about that? How about that? You're in Peckham. Butty, what are you saying? Tell me, you shut up. Make me shut up. Make me shut up if you're bad. Make me shut up if you're bad. Come on, bro, man. You're gassing. You're in Peckham. You're in Peckham. You're not Chiswick. You're not Chiswick. You're not Buckingham Palace. You're not Buckingham Palace. You're in Peckham. You're in Peckham. Yeah. Yeah.
Matt Hancock has warned that if people think they can take exercise and therefore do other things, then he will ban exercise altogether.
Ask you, if I may, about the further action, because other countries have taken further action. Italy has, for instance, in effect banned jogging and cycling.
Yeah.
France has set up police checkpoints on roads and stopped people crossing those.
Yeah.
Are those the kind of things that you might have to look at if not enough people follow these restrictions?
Well, I think this example of exercise is a really important one because we've said, because of the positive benefits to your physical and your mental health, that it's okay to exercise on your own or with members of your own household. But if the result of that is that too many people go out and flout the other rules because they say, well, if I can exercise, then it's fine for me to do other things, then I'm afraid we will have to take action. I don't want to have to take that action. Of course I don't. But we have already demonstrated that we are prepared to take the action that's necessary to get this virus under control. So my message is really clear. If you don't want us to have to take the step to ban exercise of all forms outside of your own home, then you've got to follow the rules. And the vast majority of people are following the rules, and let's not have a minority spoiling it for everybody.
I'm so pleased the Health Secretary wasn't at all vague there. I mean, doing other things is pretty unambiguous, isn't it? Why is it that people still aren't sure of the rules? Including veteran BBC broadcaster Andrew Neil, who, when asked if he employs a dog walker or does he walk his dog himself, replied, ourselves, and even under lockdown, we're allowed an hour a day, which is stated nowhere in the regulations, but was tweeted, then deleted by Greater Manchester Police. Is it any wonder people are confused? London parks are now closing after people from the densely populated surrounding areas full of apartment blocks with no gardens head to the wide open spaces for exercise and a bit of natural light. Sadiq Khan says this is unacceptable.
You won't go far in London these days without seeing this sort of messaging. Low down and up high, and from those on high.
Please, don't use the good weather as a reason to leave your home. We shouldn't be seen across parks and commons in London, picnics or barbecues or team sports taking place. If it's the case that you're breaking the rules, if it's the case that you, as a result of your behaviour, are leading to this virus spreading, the police will step in.
He has changed his tune from a few weeks back when he said there is no risk of catching coronavirus on the tube. It's interesting that the Mayor of London thinks the best way to ensure social distancing is adhered to is to shut wide open spaces where people are more than capable of exercising 2 metres apart. Instead, he wants to force them all out onto the streets where the average pavement is 2 metres wide. I'm assuming the same logic was applied when he cut the number of trains that are running, which, surprise, surprise, has just forced the same amount of people needing to travel onto fewer trains, causing scenes like this.
About public transport in London, and the government's advice to TfL and to the Mayor of London has been to lay on more trains at peak times. We've also published guidance saying that employers should stagger start times so that individuals can continue to go to work, but don't crowd onto the same trains if there is going to be, as there is today, a very significant reduction in the number of trains at peak times. We want to work with TfL to try to do that because it isn't right that people are going to work cheek by jowl with others on the tube. That isn't a healthy situation.
It is almost like the government want to make social distancing so impossible that we are all totally confined to our houses. But Boris has a plan.
What we need to do is massively ramp up not just tests so that you can know whether you've had the disease in the past, the so-called antibody test, because that will enable you to go to work in the confidence that you can't be infected or infectious. Second, people need to know whether they haven't got it, rather than isolating themselves at home for no reason, and that's very, very important above all for our NHS staff.
I agree with Boris. What we need to do is massively ramp up testing so that those of us who do not need to self-isolate can get back to work and start rebuilding our collapsed economy. We have needed to do this since the 31st of January, when the first 2 confirmed cases were found to be 2 members of a family of Chinese nationals staying in a hotel in York. In any event, the government have said they hope to be testing 100,000 people per day by the end of the month.
I am now setting the goal of 100,000 tests per day by the end of this month. That is the goal, and I am determined that we will get there.
I mean, despite the fact that testing kits en route to the UK were found to be contaminated with coronavirus, that sounds reassuring, right? The end of April is only 25 days away, and testing 100,000 people per day thereafter would mean It would only take 678 days to test the 67,801,457 people living in Britain. So by the 8th of March 2022, we would all have been tested. So chin up, people. I'm sure the abuse of police powers and the government's plans to further restrict our civil liberties will all be over soon. To those of you who are unwell at this time, my thoughts and prayers are with you. I have adhered to the government regulations within the limits that they can lawfully be applied. But I understand that for a small percentage of people, particularly the elderly and the vulnerable, this virus can be a nasty killer. So can communism. To those of you who are worried about your freedoms, you are not alone. The mainstream media has long been a corrupt institution that peddles false narratives, cover-ups and slander. JadaFranson.online was set up to bring you the truth in a world controlled by liars. If you support this platform and want to help it keep going, please consider chipping in towards its running costs. It only exists because of your support, so thank you.